And welcome back again, ladies and gentlemen. This is the beginning of, well, technically the beginning of week number 4 here for the North American ESL Pro League. It's me and Daze bringing you the action as per usual. And while we do apologize for the delay there, as is also usual with the Valve updates, we do need a little bit of time to get the ESEA servers updated, along with updating on the players and our observer clients here. So it does take a bit of time. Again, we are sorry for that, but we pretty much have every player connected now here, and we're ready to jump back into the action. It's Cobblestone, to pretty much no one's surprise here with this league, and it's going to be SK taking on Selfless. At its face value, a pretty one-sided matchup, right?
Yeah, what a way to debut into Pro League if you're Dizzy, right? Playing against, the best team in the world for, 2016, right? And still one of the best teams in the world, right? Like undisputed top 5 for sure in SK. And the very first time you played 2 Premier matches, and you got cut from this Premier team, actually. I know because I believe A2Z is on it. I believe it was A2Z's team.
I think so.
With the Wrath.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had like 2-6, but they kept Wrath. So he's played 2 Premier matches, and now he's playing in professional against SK in his first professional debut. That's crazy.
And we do have to clarify that we had a name up on there earlier. That was actually, I think it was an Australian player. This is that same Dizzy that played for Mythic for a short period of time as well.
I checked his ESA pick.
Yeah. So this will be that same one, in case anyone was wondering if it was him or a different.
It's great. Selfless is like a farm team.
That seems to be what it's been. Is Ryu just because if you still look on the website,
like a AAA team.
Yeah, the Liquid profile, they only have 3 full-time players on the roster right now. So
crazy.
They're just cycling people in and out all over the place.
And another thing is, well, first off, Fur just pushes right behind everybody, and he might get a couple freebies here, but. I think he's just going to shoot Slummy in the back of the head, get the bomb.
Knife.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. That's the bomb as well. He's going to be able to go right out over here towards A-Long and look for more. He gets that one. He's got one more behind him that unfortunately he doesn't realize is there. So CJ will be able to take him out before he does more damage. But now this is just going to act as a signal flare for the remaining members on B to try and crunch back in. Thankfully for Selfless, that's a bit unsuccessful though, as Taco gets knocked out and Phelps gets dinked down to 9. This will hold the rest of SK back for now and actually may give Selfless a chance to recover from this pretty poor start.
Yeah, I mean, Phelps is dinked, and you actually really favor the T's here. I think this is going to be a difficult round for SK to win.
We can see now as SK tries to kind of keep the pieces together. They split all 3 of their players pretty separately around the map. Coldzera's going to get the call for Phelps, but Phelps really cannot do much with that low of an HP count there. At 9, he's going to sit back, and Coldzera's trying to take most of the heat, goes in, gets the instant headshot, and Phelps frags out as well. Still manages to pick one up despite his low HP, and now it's on CJ to go 1v3 and clutch this one out. Beautiful headshot to start, and there's only one more on the site, but unfortunately the flank has come from Fallen. He's already just approaching the broken wall over there, so CJ's actually made a pretty smart decision trying to back out here and hightail it over to at the very least guarantee the plat now, if not an outright clutch.
That was really smart of CJ to realize that he's not getting shot in the back, so this guy has to be flanking. Now he gets a post plan at A and a 1v2 and a very winnable round for CJ.
And he lines up the first kill very easily. He's even going to possibly be able to get the second. Well, that dink will certainly hurt his chances. He's through the fence, though, so only brings him down to 28. But on a repeat, does even more damage to Fallen. 35 versus 28. He spots Fallen again, but the reverse is true as well. So he's going to push back to the corner, hoping that Fallen would just go directly for the frag. Fallen does have a kit, so he has a little bit of extra time to play this one out, but CJ's just going to try to play with him. Unfortunately, that's not really going to work here. He's down at 13 now, but at the same time, that damage is returned. CJ wasting so much time, safely retreats back inside of the A-Long entry point, and Fallen taps his way onto the bomb. He's still trying to tag through here. CJ trying to stop it, and he will get the headshot to finish it off, so it's Selfless that follow through, and CJ with a 4K that guarantees them the pistol.
Yeah, such a close round there, coming down to the wire, especially after Ferg gets these nice little taps. Another change, though, that I wanted to note about Selfless is that when we watched Selfless earlier, DSR was actually opping, and Nifty was kind of like that secondary op. Now, without DSR, I'm gonna assume that Nifty's gonna take back that off role, so it's gonna give them a different look, and a look that they were more successful with earlier in the season. Because Phelps got that knife, he actually buys an M4 head armor. Cole gets Deagle head armor, and they actually have a decent buy, but they don't really have much utility. No armor either on Taco, Fur, or Fallen.
So now we will see the guys from Selfless just try and push directly through the mid-connector and over here onto the A-bomb site. CJ immediately impacting, though, against Fur. Phelps still has the the M4 in hand, however, but we're not going to see that come to effect for a few moments here. Fallen trying to play close contact, gets the dink, finishes off the kill on Nifty. It's a quick trade from Dizzy, though, and then he follows it up with another one against Phelps. So unfortunately, that M4 really doesn't do that much damage, and I'm pretty sure it's unrecoverable now, as I think that he died just below balcony there. So now with Caboose finishing off Coldzera, Taco is hoping for a late player to go in through drop, but that won't be happening. So his best hope now is to try and post up, maybe sneak a headshot or 2 in.
Yeah.
and try to catch one of these guys going out for exits.
Just a very odd buy, right, from SK. I don't even know if they realized that there was an M4 because none of them have picked it up, and they still have 2 umps. But you usually don't see, a buy or a round like that where you kind of conservatively buy with half your players, just using like P250s, and then a guy with an M4 and a guy with Deagle head armor.
They had to trade it out too. It was actually Fur that bought the M4 and he tossed it to Phelps, and Phelps just bought the armor behind it for himself. Oh, nice shot from Taco, though, as he sneaks his way in first for a little dip there. Finds himself the kill on Dizzy, and I'm pretty sure he'll just be happy with that. He can hold on the outskirts of the site now and try to roll in here for a weapon pickup after it explodes. But no, falls against that and is just going to retreat without anything, saving just the P250.
Some chip damage there, the economy. Fighting games like Street Fighter, they call it chip damage. It's kind of what that was, right?
Yeah. See again the hold from Fallen to start us off, and dropping that rifle pretty quickly too before Phelps could. I don't even think he shot a bullet, unfortunately, so that thing went down pretty quickly, and it was just a waste of money at the end of the day. So now SK going to their full save round, and after this we're going to see some real action with them investing in M4s.
Yeah, should be an easy round for Selfless. We'll see, though, this nade stack could do a lot of damage with Taco and Fallen if they aren't careful. But SK is going to have a pretty good buy next round. I think they might, opt for like some type of a mag 7 on Fur, though.
See now, they're going to test over here towards drop. Nifty specifically trying to play with that window a little bit. Kind of tough to get an angle, though, for all you're still up on top. So looking down below, hasn't spotted Fur yet, but one can assume that there is going to be someone camping in that position, especially after he's already killed Coldzera here. Got him on his way, trying to push in through that window there. So Nifty impacting, and now Fur waits below. But in the meantime, the main push is on its way out. They destroy Phelps, a good response. Nate, unfortunately, Taco is a little bit too eager to jump up on top of the broken wall there. So he'll get taken down. Caboose falling through, and they make quick work of the remaining players there to guarantee themselves a third round with no losses on it.
Great start for Selfless, and this is that they needed that. You really need a good start if you're Selfless there. I was a little scared for them, when that first knife came through, and Fur was able to make it 4v3 off the bat. Just getting behind them all, but they really do need that type of fast start if they want to really compete against this SK Gaming team. I think if they go down early, it would be just unwinnable for them, right? Like if they go down 4-0 or anything like that, I don't think they have like the mental fortitude, to really come back in those scenarios. SK just opting for a double op setup, pretty limited utility, but they have enough utility to stop any type of rush. And that's really what's important when you have that double op setup, because that's just going to allow you to have time to look for picks, have time to gain leverage, and some type of an advantage if you're following a Taco.
Yeah, so the fast stop, or the fast start, I should say, is you're going to have to come to a stop here now for Selfless as they slow things down and essentially play into a bit more solidified default around B here now, as they are going to group and try to push back in. They still have kept the usual player out in the open towards A to watch out for flanks. And that's going to be Dizzy as your main man there, but the rest, currently everyone trying to go in towards drop here, so potentially a split, more than likely a split out towards A. Problem is that this is just a huge chokehold right here. If Coldzera and Fur can play this right together, they're not going to get anywhere with this one. One's out through the window, going through the Molotov. Beautiful headshot from Fur, and now Coldzera's going to push back in. They did kind of bait him into peeking, but everything else is being handled very nice. Losing a few players here. Taco's got the fourth, and now one is just stuck in the corner. As you can see, he's being very cautious trying to finish him off. He'll be unsuccessful in doing it, which now brings us down to a 1v2, but as soon as he peeks into the main A doorway, Fallen will finish the job.
And that was very fortunate for Selfless to even get those 3 kills. I mean, a crossfire like that, when you're all coming out of that drop room towards connector with Cold, and I believe it was Fur crossfired, if I'm not mistaken. You're lucky to even get those 3 kills that you got. I think more often than not, SK is going to win that round with, 4 alive probably, and you're just going to get cleaned up right away. Yeah, so Fur peeking right away. Go ahead.
Yeah, they even have to jump through a Molotov and whatnot just to get themselves started on that push.
Yeah, I mean, they jumped through that was their own Molotov, actually. It almost pushed Cold off position, and if they were a millisecond faster on it, they probably would have killed him. Fortunately, they didn't peek fast enough. I thought that was a nice little wrinkle into their strategy. But at the end of the day, SK reads exactly what they're doing. The rotate comes out because Fallen has that long A control that entire time. With that long A control, once that drop control happens, Cold hears a few there, and since Fallen's just comfortable over there at A, nobody pushes him back or anything, it allows for to over-rotate to drop and send 2 there. And you even saw Taco as a third very quickly.
So Selfless going back into something much more average in terms of what we expect here. No crazy 4-man plays in a drop this time. This is much more of a solidified play wrapping itself around A, but the option is open in towards B too, as the bomb is kind of kept at an in-between point. Flashbang though, perfectly connects onto Dizzy, and he's blinded for so long, so Fur gets himself an easy pickup. He does get traded a bit on damage. He's down to 30 HP, but his teammate that was looking out for him there, Slemmy, is not able to actually finish off the kill. So Fer gets away, and that is going to be an untraded frag to start SK also with, start them off with the lead.
And that's like that inexperience, right? Whenever you are in a place where it's a very common pop flash for that to come out and you to re-aggress middle after they do take control. And we see Dizzy doesn't, coordinate with a teammate. Great shot by Nifty, outpicking Fallen like that. Fallen's very tough to pick off like that.
So getting that, but now they actually need to get themselves up to the site, and they have bought enough time for SK to start rotating it. In fact, there's the first kill from Fer. Chains it into one more before actually seeing Caboose counter trade him out to knock him down. Teaser down to 2, 3 still up and running for the CTs, and not only this, but the time is essentially gone here. So Selfless will have no choice but to run away and save Nifty inside of this. Oh, this is actually a bit dangerous. Thankfully, Taco looks the wrong way on going in, so he should be safe now after finding that frag. Saves the op at least, but obviously he's not going to be buying much else besides the flashbang with like $200 left over.
Yeah, I mean, that was a really nice shot by him. I'm very surprised that he was able to get that. To be honest, I hate to say it, but on land, that would probably never happen. Fallen probably kills him 10 out of 10 times. Peeker's advantage gives him a little bit of a extra, breathing room. But that flash push at middle to make it 4v5 that forgot, he's able to throw the counter, so he gets 2 more kills with the ump after that. But that's only possible because of that inexperience. Like Dizzy, just coming into that pro league, you really have to be careful around any situation like that. If you're going to be out in the open like that, that's going to happen quite often, and you need to have people dodging flash with you. You can't just be in a position isolated like that.
Yeah, well, CJ going to make up for their early losses in mid-connector than that last round there with ramming speed up through Suicide this time. Just deletes Fallen early on, and now they have the 5v4. Taking a little bit of damage from these HEs that were tossed in through like Broken Wall whatnot early on. So we've got, 30 HP tossed off of 30 to 20 HP tossed off of a couple of guys, but nothing serious right now. They're still slow playing this one in kind of a similar way to they did in the last round, with the exception of CJ, of course. And beyond that, SK are still at an even 2-2 split, not over-rotating into either site just yet, since Selfless has done very little to actually give anything away in terms of their strat.
And they're playing it very well right now. I'm not sure why CJ is not running along with Slemmy. Like, they don't need to be walking in that situation. They're setting up the A smokes. They only have B smokes, and they only have 2 players towards B. So this is a really good call by Selfless. Let's see if Phelps can hold it. He's gonna have to come up big.
Gets himself the smoke on top of that left part of the Broken Wall.
So nice smoke.
So he's actually going to be able to see feet as they go through. I think Selfless realized it. Nope, maybe not, because he does pick up 1 for free there. Could trade from Caboose, though, to prevent him from doing anything else, but should have been able to read that there is at least 1 or 2 more players there. So the cavalry is going to get called over, as we can see the rotations moving in now. Unfortunately, they don't get in a great position, so coldzera gets trying to move to the rock. Taco gets really aggressive, swinging out for the boost up box, and then CJ grabs his 3rd on the round and the closing kill of it as well to put them up to 4-2 now.
4-2, and SK is going to be saving. Fallen's early aggression gets punished, puts them into a 2v2, or a 2-man A, 2-man B type setup. And anytime you're at that on Cbble, like, you're just so disadvantaged. Phelps almost saved the round with that smoke. Caboose was very fortunate to spam him through it. I doubt he really saw much of Phelps there. He was just kind of spamming through it. But that was a really cool one-way to Phelps through. Something that people should probably take note, maybe steal.
Well, coldzera now is going to go for the counter boost, and they do have a little bit of an angle through this smoke as well, as it was tossed a bit further to the left side.
Yeah, and this was done on purpose, absolutely. I mean, that was the CT smoke that they did it, and they did it 100% on purpose.
But won't be able to spot anything. Selfless are being a little bit passive. It's a bit different, though, as we take a look over here on the platform. Fallen very aggressively trying to get himself up there with the scout to knock off 1 or 2 of these players, but Selfless holding with much better gun power. Taco is able to move back up to retrieve the scout, but it seems like Selfless are going to be backing out now. Possibly backing up. We may see 1 guy still go for drop control. In fact, I think Caboose on that little jump up there may have been able to see coldzera. It was just his head that was peeking out, but it was up in the open when he went for that jump. The majority of the team, though, is now moving into the mid-connector, just trying to go through towards A, but however, through Suicide here, Phelps is able to impact a bit, slowing them down at the very least as they try to move back up, buying some time for the SK guys to rotate in. And speaking of which, well, it's rather unsuccessful as they do move out in through the A main doorway for Taco, and now coldzera's been cornered at 20 HP. Does sneak in a kill, but the Molotov's going to spread over the top of the shed and onto his body to burn him out, and now all that is left is going to be Phelps. They know exactly where he's at, so Nifty with a beautiful op shot finishes things off. Selfless up to 5.
Yeah, SK, again, like, they pretty much bought there. I mean, Taco didn't buy anything because I assume he's going to save for an op. Whether he uses it or Fallen is something we'll wait to see. But now SK going to be on another save. Selfless winning that round with either 4 or 5 alive. Just building their bank account up and doing a really good job right now. I mean, 5-2 in your first debut match against SK. That's pretty awesome for Dizzy.
And now Nifty sitting back and waiting behind the trash can. He may get himself quite a few opportunities to find some kills here too. In fact, there's one after being flashed out. And this is not looking like the round versus Cloud9 a little while back. Also no deagles in hand here, so no clutches to be made this time. As we can see, SK pretty much getting destroyed. Taco, though, surprises a bit. Finds Dizzy, as he was not expecting that second player to be hanging out there, but now 11 HP. All of his opponents sitting in the other end. He's going to smoke this out, but that will do pretty much nothing. And Slemmy's just going to knock him out there anyway. So all they lose is Dizzy there on a rushed attempt from SK to try and take some control out through mid connector there in A-Long.
Yeah, but 2-6, they have a lot of money to buy the next couple rounds, even if they lose them. So they're in like a prime position right now to, even if SK wins a round, they could reset them and possibly, you know, end up winning this half with 10 or more rounds.
And speaking of which, now SK spreading themselves out across the map here into the usual formation. Nothing crazy being done here. Selfless very decidedly, though, once again, sending 4 of their players over here towards A-Long. This is not the usual way we see the T-sides played, where they just split themselves 3-2 on either side of the map accordingly, and at least having 1 or 2 guys to watch out for the flank. This is, you know, four-man commitment. This is the second or third time we've seen them do this now, when they are just waiting on the outside and only having, at the moment, Nifty to watch out in the event SK got aggressive over there towards the B site.
Yeah, I mean, SK is not really doing much aggression this round, but they do have Taco kind of ready to peek the plot, and that could actually be a big advantage. Like, a lot of the time you could leverage this type of information into a round win, especially if Selfless opts to hit A. Like, Taco's going to send a rotator. We see it come out now. Phelps is rotating to A, and they already have a 2-man setup, a very strong setup at that, with Fur and Fallen. Now, if Fur and Fallen die pretty early on or anything like that, all of a sudden we could see something where you know, he just saves the round being in the back of sight. Taco gets flashed back. It looks like it's going to be some type of a fake 2-man A, 3-man B split. We'll see if they send anybody through drop.
That B-split is moving its way into the site here now. They are still trying to make noise over towards A to draw Coldzera, I imagine, or at least one of these guys sitting on B over to the site. CJ doesn't even know where he's looking as he goes out. It's the same problem for Dizzy. He goes for the boost player, only does about half damage though, and now they are trying to make an attempt to push back out. They did force rotates, but it doesn't matter, as the players that still remained on B have been able to handle a push up to Nifty in a 1v5, only 17 seconds. He's out in the open, nowhere to run. Phelps will finish it off, and it's SK back up on the board.
Very nicely played by Phelps and Taco there. As soon as Phelps saw that drop pressure, you notice he didn't even play like a parallel angle or anything like that. He didn't play at the rock when they come out. He completely hid. And that was because he relayed that information to Taco. Taco being on statue, they're looking for Phelps. They're trying to kill him. Taco's just sitting there at statue. The easiest kill he's going to get probably all game. You know, just killing somebody, running out of the E-box, chasing Phelps like that. And that was baited out by Phelps, you know, very nicely. So now Selfless, they don't have an op to work with this round, and Taco's taking B plat control, and this could be problematic for Selfless if he continues this aggression and gets this type of information.
Cold again, getting aggressive there himself, is able to pick up a kill. Caboose, though, finds some good positioning and is actually able to take down Taco, as he was really getting baited into that kill from the player that was shoulder peeking out from the tunnels themselves. CT Smoke, though, will cause some delay and allow for recovery of the op into the CT's hands. Phelps just falling back to the statue and will play it out there. The remaining guys from Selfless, again, have not made any big moves to try and switch up their own take yet. The moment still just kind of hanging out in these B halls. We did see Fallen kind of sweep through A-Long, so he's probably been able to reconfirm that there's really no pressure here, which means those 3 from SK that are still in B are probably going to be sticking around there for the entire time until Selfless goes in for this push, which does appear as though they are still sticking around for this type of a play. Mollying out the close angle back down there along with flashing it to try and flush out any defenders here and drop. They'll be non-existent, and they give themselves their own smoke. Now, all they would have to worry about here is going to be Phelps, but he's on the outside, so he is going to be able to read this, but this does mean extra pressure goes on the guys like Coldzera over here in the inside area, playing towards Chicken Coop here now. He'll divide his attention to that. Fur in the cubby. He's going to be helping out. Phelps, though, is able to sneak one in, had great timing on the push, and now these 3 devoted to B have done a wonderful job of disposing of the push once again, and Fur will finish things off with the last kill.
Yeah, and that extra man there at B, because of Fallen's information at A, you know, makes that round pretty standard and easy. And again, we see them coming out of E-box, but you know what? There's no flash coming to push off the opper when they're coming out, and they're just running into him, right? This guy's at Chicken Coop. He's watching E-box. It's the easiest kills, man, when you're just running out there. You really need somebody to flash for you so that you can get out E-box safely. It's not happening, and Selfless now on their last chance to, you know, win a round before they have to save. It's 5B right off the bat. Counter nades are coming off, and SK reads this right away. They have 4B.
And again, you have Fallen just moving through A long and mid connector there to sweep things out to ensure that they have no presence. The smoke that they cover the cross with isn't even perfect. CJ is going to get a trade, and Dizzy with another one. They know Taco's back in Coop, so he's actually pretty restricted with the positioning he could play with. Should have been able to see, but no, actually, I don't think he caught it. Slemmy going behind the big box up on top there. Fur finding one kill, and they do have CJ at 1 HP. So now with Fallen pushing up, he'll finish the job on taking him down. Even again into the 2v2, reapplying the smoke there between the box and Fountain Cross so that Fallen can safely aggress, as can his opponent move further into the site. But it's a bit of a standoff right now. Really nobody making a big move. The SK guys are trying to get out in the open to find these frags, but unfortunately, Selfless aren't really feeding them a whole lot, so it is turning this into a bit of a waiting game. They have bomb control, though, and they realize it now, so they are going to play it back a bit, and this does work out. Fur is able to connect more damage. He gets tagged for 10 by Dizzy. Oh, I wasn't expecting Dizzy to push that aggressively, so now it's all come down to Fallen, and they are watching for him on this peak, but he lines up the headshot, safely falls back behind the smoke. That thing should be gone any second now, though, so he isn't going to have that coverage anymore. It is just going to be the Fountain that he'll play with. Dizzy still sneaking through. Wallet is here, though, and I'm not sure if Fallen has realized it, but thankfully catches it as he checks the left side for a final time, finishing off the round as the last man standing and putting SK within 1 round's grasp of tying this game up.
Very important round for SK to win there. Either put Selfless on a save, or they might do a pistol armor buy. If Dizzy would have won that, he would have been a legend, though. In that 1v1 in your first debut match, outplaying Fallen like that with like 20 health. Fortunately, Fallen just too much experience, and we do see the half armor, or armor tech 9 buy come out. Fur, of course, going to get aggressive, going to take that advantage. Early drop control, trying to come out there, just running through a Molotov, getting destroyed by Cold Zero's Molly. Now it's up to Slemmy. They managed to get 1 kill on that round, but now all of a sudden SK has a lot of money. They're going to be able to buy out for the rest of the half. We've seen them outplay Selfless positionally the past couple rounds and kind of read what they're doing. Whereas early on in the half, Selfless kind of, had the advantage a little bit. But now, we're seeing SK at like full strength, and this is going to be very difficult for Selfless to overcome. Yeah,
well, you're seeing SK kind of being put back into a shell a little bit there at the beginning of the half, as they're forced to play more passively. But now, especially with I think it was Phelps that pushed his way out, or Phelps or Fur that pushed their way out really aggressively there through mid connector last round. They're coming back into this with full confidence here, as they have kind of retaken control of the situation. So now they're going to look to capitalize upon that. They do have a smoke
a rough boost up there.
Yeah, took a couple tries. So they do have the advanced smoke here, and they're going to flash through it as well. Cold missed the little doorway. What? Whoa! Whoa! So cool. He just did a magic trick. He somehow poured his way out.
That was planned, 100%.
So he manages to jump his way through, get back out towards Broken Wall.
I thought he was going to go and drop and get boosted again and try it again. No, that was 100% planned. Absolutely. That was really neat.
And with that, he gets out pretty much unscathed. He loses 25 HP from that. And
I wonder if they timed it with like a B flash over the top to get anybody towards B, because like that was planned for him to flank B. Selfless didn't have anybody there, but that would have been so cool.
And now we do have Taco seeking actually the first kill finally at around 50 seconds there, knocking out Caboose. And they're going to get aggressive here too, so they may be able to catch CJ. Oh, they do catch him looking away. Do they see Slemmy, though, down below? They'll look for him, and Fur executes both. And that pretty much kills all of the force from Selfless in this round. The last two are together with the bomb, thankfully. So they can still try to go for, a last-ditch to execute, but they're not even going to attempt that. They're already falling back towards T-spawn, and they're going to call this one a save.
Fur just has the best timing on those pushes. Like the mid-round aggression-type pushes. He just has the best timing. He just gets in these spots where you're never going to expect somebody at, and he's just so good just when it comes to just like spraying people down, aiming at them in unconventional ways. Like whenever he pushes somewhere and he's in an uncomfortable situation, a lot of people, when they're in those types of scenarios, they kind of falter and it becomes a lot more difficult for them. Whenever Fur like pushes anywhere, right, it just seems like he never falters, his aim never, messes up or anything like that in these situations that he's never been in before, right? Because every one of them is usually different a lot of the time, and he always comes through for SK.
So starting off, I believe somewhere around 6-2. Selfless had a great lead starting off, but unfortunately, huge amount of bank too, which took like 3 gun rounds straight for SK to break. But they did do it. Now they've not only brought back the scoreline, but taken the lead, and this has triggered the tactical pause from the Selfless side of things. They're going to see what they can do with the save. Again, money's really not looking that great here. They probably can force into it, but it's going to involve quite a few Tech 9s and whatnot here. But it looks like they're going to go for it.
They pretty much said when they're saving those 2 guns that they will force into it. They have money bonus, so they're getting 3,400 around anyways, right? But it was 6-2, and they were in a really great position. I mean, it was 6-2, and SK just bought, right? And you had like 3 gun rounds in a row to really, you know, buy yourself. Even if you lost, and you could have reset SK. So they put themselves in a great spot. That's as good of a spot as you're ever going to get, you know, in Counter-Strike in general, right? Fer getting aggro once again. And one of the reasons he's getting aggro like that is because he knows they don't have enough. You know, he knows they've saved the 2 AKs. He knows how much money they're getting. So he can get aggro like that. He doesn't really have to, you know, worry about getting punished, you know, just hard countered by an op.
I did see the cross from Caboose a moment ago, but doesn't want to stick around up top there for too much longer, so decides to fall back. In the meantime, we have 3 players either in suicide steps or over at the very edge of A long, waiting to fend off a push here, which could prove itself to be a tad of an overcommitment. Since Selfless are back into kind of weighing the default here, still keeping the bomb at the B halls. We may end up seeing some pressure come through here, which they can kill, but that might just spite them into going into a direct B play, where again, you really only have Phelps and Taco to defend that right now. The op shot initially misses here, but on the other side, you do have Fer waiting, and what was that spray from CJ? He's not able to connect anything, and now all of a sudden, it's a 3-4v1 trade, I'll correct myself, as they also tried to push the broken wall platform at the same exact time. Caboose sneaks in a little bit here against Taco. He's got the bomb, but is really far back in those halls still, and I think Fer is actually going to beat him to it. So that pretty much kills any chance of Caboose clutching this one out, as he would have to kill Fer, get himself back out and onto that site with only 35 seconds remaining here. Fer finding it, he will go for the peek. Caboose able to train that at the very least, and now he has the bomb back, but he's lost control of the B site, so he has to go back out and fight 1v2 to win this. If he somehow does it, it would be a miracle. Messes up the flashbang as well, so he's not going to be able to get free reign as he goes over, and he shoots on the way in. Gonna throw them off a little bit. Gets that kill, though. Amazingly found against Coldzera. Suffers some damage from it, though, at 50 HP. And now, with 10 seconds left, he's got to go for this frag, as he's not focusing on the plant. Goes in and finds the position for Fallen. He's just stuck behind the rock, though. Wants to play this close quarters, and when the time is right, swings out and finishes things off with a nice headshot.
Almost winning that round. First off, he definitely heard Fer while Fer was running. Didn't seem like Fer registered that the bomb was there quite early enough for him to stop before he could hear him. Nice couple spray downs. Yeah, CJ had a rough one right there. Interesting setup by SK, though. They completely give up the drop room. They play 2 pretty much aggressive B. They say, hey, they're not going to go down drop without using any nades, so that will kind of give us that cue. Caboose does, you know, almost win that round, turn it into a 1v1 because he did get through that drop room in that fashion. But then they had 3 towards A, and it was just kind of like a hard counter towards A.
Well, now for Selfless on the final round of the half. Going to be much more heavily towards drop this time around, as we can see at least 2 players getting ready to try and put some pressure on it. Obviously, just waiting for smokes and whatnot to fade away. Defending it, though, you also have quite a few more players from SK looking towards that direction. Coldzera actually in that transition room, and right outside of it, I believe around the boost box there, you also have Phelps sitting a bit deeper into the site, so he can also turn around if he needs to, but not anymore. He's actually going to commit himself through his own smoke toss out to try and give himself a better position against this platform push, sitting right on the edge of it, so if they try to go into the site, they are going to have to deal with him. There's one. Quickly traded back out, not only that, but they knocked out Coldzera in drop 2, so that's the site wide open. Fer is trying to sneak back in as Nifty sits right on the other side of the drop room here, given free reign over the area leading up towards tree, but now the smokes fade away, so it is an open battlefield. Taco also chiming in, gets 1, gets 2 from the chicken coop, and now it's restricted to site presence here as Fer fights behind the statue. He takes down Nifty. Caboose looking for a 1v3 here. Spots the nade toss out from Fallen, but with his position being given away, he can just wait this out. Fallen grabs the headshot again, and there you have it. SK starting off down from 6-2, round the comeback, and will now hold the advantage at the very end of the half. 9-6 in their favor, ladies and gentlemen. Stick around as the second half is coming up in just a few moments right here at the ESL Pro League.
ESL Pro League is brought to you in part by Logitech G, Pay Safeguard, Mountain Dew League, and ESEA.
Seeming like the premier dropout was going to be able to possibly cause an upset at the beginning of that first half, things did turn around pretty quickly for the champions of the world, as they once were at least. SK now control the half here on Cobblestone with a 9-6 lead over Selfless, now featuring Dizzy, as there was a bit of a change-up earlier today as he jumps onto the roster once again here as we're about to jump into the second half at any moment.
The premier dropout.
Yes, yeah, I don't know. I'm just thinking on the dime there.
Yeah, I like it. But I mean, he had some important frags. He played, I think he played pretty well for his first invite match against SK. But it just seemed like, you know, once SK got rolling and they got their economy going, they really read what Selfless was doing. Once they got in their setups, it was just all over.
Yeah, so again, guys, things should be getting started here in just a moment. And I mean, overall, I think you pretty much put the nail on the head. Unfortunately, it was still a very basic T side overall from Selfless. And once we did see that momentum go around, SK got in a full aggression mode. They were able to read the situations and pretty quickly kind of punish whatever Selfless tried to throw at them. As unfortunately, again, as this team's changing up so much, they still really tend to stick to a very basic playbook most of the time.
I mean, you have to, right? You're playing with a new player, and you lost DSR. Also, players are changing roles. Nifty's opping now, so you can't really have anything too crazy, right? You kind of have to. You don't necessarily just have to start from the bottom, but you can't really do any set strats if you just have a new player and people are switching roles as well.
Well, Taco's going to be swinging up pretty quickly. We're going to have our first battle pretty quickly here, too, as Nifty doesn't want any part of it. He's running away. Thankfully, he was able to hear a bunch of this, though, so the cavalry's been called an A, but the problem is the bomb was nowhere near this site, and Coldzera, nicely shot, just gets the instant grab there onto CJ, taking him down. Nice little USP upgrade, too, but Selfless is just kind of going between it. They're a bit unsure about where this is going to go now, since they had all that pressure at A main. Didn't lead itself out into the site as they fell back, and now there's just a big train coming into B, so they're back into like a 2-2 split, essentially. And also, Caboose is kind of at the halfway between points, so he's not even going to be able to help out that much, except with these three coming out towards drop, he can try and attempt to assist here, but Slevy just gets completely overwhelmed, and that means the guys on platform are going to walk out for free here too. Very quickly leading out to full site control here, and these last two, while they may be able to hold on to their own lives, actually impacting and somehow pulling off the retake is where things are going to get a little bit too tough. This is almost certainly going to be SK's pistol as they'll push up to 10-6.
Yeah, it most likely will. And you see when they were coming out of E-Box, that Fallen throws a flash. I know it didn't get the player in Chicken Coop because he peeked after the flash, but that's the flash I'm talking about. When you're going out E-Box like that, you really need to have good teamwork, good flashes from your teammates in order to have a successful split. Selfless, what they were doing is they would get down drop, and then they would try to flash for themselves. But look, when you're flashing for yourself and you're banking it off the wall, it's just a huge tell because, you know, just the obvious sound cue is going to let people dodge. And then they know you're coming out, and, you know, it's just a world of difference from one of your teammates pop flashing for yourself, or for you, and you trying to flash for yourself.
Selfless are going to try to go for a bit of a stack over here towards the BA platform. I think they'll probably detach this pretty quickly, though. One's already gone back up to watch for a long presence and kind of shift his way back over towards B. Speaking of B, SK did send they did send 3, and one of them already in drop as well out onto this site. Phelps gets a little bit of a glimpse there as he's tagged from A long, and now Moore going to try to push out. I think he realizes, though, as he holds this angle, it's still a bit overexposed, but hanging on as he picks up one. Coldzera finding one back over there out onto the B bomb, so that individual player that had gone away. Phelps really smart about this one, though, just tossing in the smoke, giving him a bit of coverage. He still goes down, but at least makes the job difficult, and now at the very least allows for full security on the SK side to get that bomb planted and buying time for his teammates to surround these remaining CTs too. But oh, CJ again, I said it once before, just running up there, destroys Taco. Furt will find one of these CTs on the backside of the train there as he takes out Caboose, and now it's going to be Dizzy trying to hold on to this AK that him and CJ both managed to scavenge. Puts us actually into a 2v2 without a kit, though, with them being so far back, actually doing anything else in terms of trying to outright win the round. Is still gone away, but hey, they'll have these guns, and I think they'll actually pretty much kill everyone. Fallen, he's going out here to try to challenge it too, but this is 2 AKs he's dealing with. The Molly's a bit too far to the right, so it's not going to burn CJ out. There's Fallen with the kill, though. He gets one more, he wipes the board clean, but no, Dizzy is left as the last man standing. 3 kills in the round, and he gets to carry the AK into the next one for free.
Yeah, and we'll see. You know, they didn't invest anything. So if I'm Selfless, I'm buying here, 100%. Obviously, you know, you can get head armor. Look, they have 4 Mach 10s and an AK, and they do buy. And I 100% fully support this. If you're going to beat SK, you need to take risks like this, right? You need to. If you're going to play to win this match, you have to take these type of risks. So, you know, we'll see if it pays off for him against the 4 Mach 10s.
Nifty's going to be playing up closer with the shotgun blinded, though, which causes a miss, and he'll be pretty quickly overwhelmed. Coldzera rolling right in, misses the transition room player, but his teammates bail him out beautifully, and they also kill that player by the rock, too. So Coldzera has acts as a bit of a human shield to draw all the fire there, and that's pretty much, again, the end of the round here. Slemmy and Dizzy have to back away to save, as that would just happen way too quickly for these last remaining 2 to really do anything about it.
Yeah, Nifty not dodging. You know, he dodged the first one, but then there's about 4 more that came that got him, and that actually makes a huge difference. I mean, he's actually in position there to really do some good work, maybe multi-frag. Doesn't get the job done. SK just runs him over with Mach 10s, but I definitely still, even though they didn't win the round and they lost all these 5 guns, 100% I think it's the right call.
Yeah, so SK doubling the scoreline now from Selfless and putting them into probably just what's going to be like a P250 round here. Maybe a couple will go for like 5-7s or something, but probably nothing else beyond that. So a light bot round, which in theory should be easy sailing for SK with the way things have been going so far, but we'll take a look and see. SK even know this too, as they're still sticking with 2 of those Mach 10s just to try and farm a bit of extra cash.
Yeah, we'll see. Looks like they're going pretty quickly paced. Selfless is trying to counter this with 5B, but they have no nades, no utility or anything like that.
They're just going right out. They're still looking the other way after the flashbang's already hit. Coldzera, an easy 3K for him. He does try to go for 4, but I think he bites off a bit more than he can chew. And now Phelps actually misses the opportunity, so CJ gets a second, so a little bit more damage, but with the pace they're taking it, I think they can kind of eat up those deaths, especially with their players sitting around like 7 AK already.
Yeah, a little flash behind him while he jumps out. 2 guys just sitting there, just staring at the wall. Just so easy for Coldzera to kill him with his Mach 10. Now, they are fully bought up now. Selfless is. It's not out of the realm of possibility that they could still win this game. I mean, their situation is bad because the T's have a lot of money. But sometimes Cbble can be a really CT-sided map. You know, CJ holding the drop room, Nifty and Caboose over at B, leaving Slemmy and Dizzy at A.
Coldzera just tried to test the waters a little bit early there with the CTs popping off the smoke. Won't really see anything come from it. Whereas SK, again, just wait on the time a little bit. Doesn't look like they're going to be trying to do anything aggressive here at the beginning of the round anyway, besides these little peeks here and there to try to scare Selfless. They even got presence outside to watch for flanks. Nifty, though, with a good angle. Good flashbang, though, right over the top. Completely blinds Nifty. If they had someone peeking directly after that, that might have been an early kill into the Opper, but we'll search still to push him back further into the site as they get shuffled a little bit there, trying to go into the door, so a bit of unnecessary damage going on to Phelps. He does get caught in that. Now he's down at 46 HP. The push itself still really uncommitted into either site. Obviously, if they find a path into A, they could very easily turn this into a drop split, but we also have presence sitting on the platform approach there too. So it's open for all directions here, as Phelps could just act as a lurker as the rest of the team goes in towards B. That seems to be what he's going to be doing as he works his way back up. CJ does sneak in for 1 kill there outside a drop. Dizzy from behind catching 1, but Phelps is going to see him now that he's lurked his way in through the A main doors. And oh, nicely spotted by Dizzy there. Takes down Phelps. And now there's only 2 up and running all of a sudden for SK here. 30 seconds left in the round. Coldzera may attempt to flank against Dizzy, but he's checking both directions here. So he's got his wits about him. It's just there's so much for him to deal with currently. So he's going to have to pay attention to that. Still though, Coldzera gets the better of him and tags for some damage on a Nifty, which Taco is going to capitalize on to finish off. The last man standing for Selfless is way over here on A, and that's going to be Slemmy attempting a 1v2.
Bomb has been planted.
Push himself towards it again. Obviously, as you can see, there's plenty of utility to play with as well. The smoke already going out. It's really deep, so as to try and pop flash in, and it misses the connection onto both of the members of SK. So Coldzera front and center finishes things off and puts SK now just 2 rounds away from victory.
That retake is just so difficult in any type of 1v2 if you're not there early. If you're there early, sometimes, you know, it's manageable. But when you're there late, I mean, think about it. You have to check close right to the door. You have to worry about chicken coop. You have to worry about backside. You have to worry about if they're just playing passive on stairs and in upper B. What if they lurked around you around E-box when you came through the mid doors? Or connector doors, right? It's just so difficult to retake on that site. They could play around the, the square or the cube forever, it seems like, right? And it's just such a tough task when you're Slemmy in that situation. Tactical pause coming out. I'm assuming this is from Selfless.
Yeah, should be from Selfless.
Yeah, so they are going to buy here. This is kind of a last stance, right? I mean, if they don't win this, I don't know how you come back from 6 to 15, especially being on a low buy. So they really need this round if they want to, you know, have any type of chance at coming back in this game, obviously, right? But it's just looking like, I mean, from 6 to 2, it's 14 to 6. So I think, what is that? You know, 12 rounds in a row so far for SK?
Yep. It's been a straight run for them ever since they finally got their stuff together, and now we'll have to see if they can continue it directly up towards 16 rounds. They do try to fast play this one at the beginning, but I think the smokes from the CTs are going to hold them off a little bit. Molotov obviously being the bigger issue to deal with there. But it's gone away now, and obviously coldzera having the 4 position is going to be able to call that there really isn't a lot to deal with up here, so his teammates can't push through that without any worry. Now, as they move in, Taco that leads the charge. Did get the flash connection on the Caboose. Was a light one, so he did have time to recover. Unfortunately, wasn't available for it, and now, as they do try to deploy smokes and Molotov, CJ holding up for the trade, brings into a 4v2. He had a huge stack of SK players there, but did not want to commit himself to the duel that early on, so has allowed them to get away, and 0 damage against them. Now Phelps impacting further, knocking down Slemmy. CJ has retreated behind the smoke wall, now grouped up with Nifty. We haven't even as well seen the drop pressure from Phelps move in just yet there too, as he's sitting above that one currently. Fur impacting there. They do counter out Phelps and draw, but Fur just going off at this point. The nade would have finished him off if coldzera didn't get it, but he gets the virtue of the kill, and SK have no problem at all pushing up to 15.
Yeah, wall smokes, you know, able to just get that entry on the B plat. Taco, if you notice, basically ran out by himself. And I think the reason they do that is maybe Taco gets out first and then the smoke wall comes and the flashes go out, right? And I don't know if that's an option that they normally run, but if they do that normally, maybe Taco gets out there, he baits kind of a lot of the nades and things like that, and then they do it, right? And then that way it's just that much easier to take the site.
Well, Nifty is actually going to get aggressive this time around, and he spots Taco really early on in the round, so immediately puts us down to a 5v4. Bit of an advantage that the biggest issue here for Selfless, just looking across the board, is utility. They'd be very careful with the way that they have to utilize that. We can tell they're being actually a little bit more hesitant, and instead choosing to play just more aggressively in general towards this CT side. Caboose playing close contact there with the APC, same as Slemmy just outside of the alleyway. He's got the Molotov too, so if he hears anything, he can deploy that and try to hold them off for a good 5 to 10 seconds. As they move in though, he won't choose to use it. coldzera swings out, gets that kill. He has a lot more to deal with though to his left side, and now Fur moves in. He cannot get a second. Caboose on top of those barrels though. He can snipe quite a few headshots if he does not get burned out from this position, which right now he's safe, but he actually goes down. That's the danger zone. Up on top is where he's a lot safer, but when he does go back up, Fur is able to catch him. CJ also trying to transition through this opening here, but look at Phelps. He can just draw a huge divide between them. There's 1, there's 2, and now everything's down to Nifty. Phelps with 3, and SK do indeed push forward. A 14-round streak to close out on the map, and they will take it 16 to, I believe, 6 at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, and, you know, even when Selfless was up 6 to 2, and if they were in a really good position, I don't know, there's just kind of no doubt in my mind that SK was going to kind of just bring it back and, you know, close it out there. I mean, winning 14 rounds in a row, it's pretty demoralizing if you're Selfless after going up, so, you know, playing so well at the start of the game. The
very like puggy teams, like the teams that are just kind of getting together, are always, especially in North America, always seem to be very momentum based. And obviously, you know, they're looking good at the start there because they have that momentum, but you can see how quickly they kind of lose themselves as they lose that momentum, and SK kind of start taking control, and they feel they need to get more aggressive again.
I mean, once SK kind of just gains that speed and they get in the rhythm of it, looked like they maybe came out like a little bit flat, right? And Selfless, you know, like even those early round rotations that we saw, SK wasn't like adapting. There was like a 4v5. They just played a 2-2 and things like that. That's usually not how SK plays. They usually try to gain an advantage somewhere else. But, you know, at the end of the day, they put it together, won 14 rounds in a row, and take map 1.
All right. So to close out the discussion on this first map, let's throw it back over to our analysis desk. Guys, what were your thoughts there on Cobblestone?
Thank you, guys. You know, kicking that one off, I mean, the pistol round was just a weird cluster one already, right? So
yeah,
you have Slimmy get knifed. You have CJ come in and save the day, and Selfless actually wins the round. Just off pistol round alone, I'm like, wow, this is going to be an interesting matchup.
Yeah, and we talked about it being, you know, one of the many win conditions that the Selfless needed to have. They needs to get off to a good start if they want to have a shot at this, and they needed to continue with that momentum going forward. And it lasted, you know, until the 8th round, and that's where it was full stop.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. We saw them pick up the first gun. Hell, I mean, we even saw the op in Nifty's hands.
Yeah.
So we know who assumes that role in the absence of
DSR. Yeah.
DSR. So there was a chance there, and it slowly slipped away. It looked like SK finally got their they're kind of
Their footing.
gumption about they got their footing and they say, hey, we're gonna adapt to this. We're gonna make some changes here.
Yeah.
In the beginning, it looked a little rough for them.
Yeah, it did look a little bit rough, and we talked about how we're not really sure what kind of approach SK are going to have to this. Obviously, they come in as massive favorites. They might be a bit slow to start, and I think that was the case. Daze mentioned the fact that they didn't really adapt and didn't necessarily play out, man disadvantaged situations in the same manner that they normally would in that sense. They kind of just went halfway about it, didn't fully commit to anything. Towards as the game progressed, we got to see more of the same old SK really in that sense, what we kind of would have expected out of them.
The world champion SK.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's not.
Yeah, they turned the gas up. It's like, hey, we're warmed up now.
Let's go.
All that stuff in first half. Don't even worry about that. We're here now.
Yeah, no, it's barbecue chicken time.
Barbecue chicken time. Well, it's actually time for us to take a little look here at SK Innovation Hour. I believe we can call it SK's Innovation Hour here. Talk us a little bit about what's going on here, Vendetta.
Yeah, no, so early on they had a bit of a slow time getting started, but you see them actually trying out different things. This is Phelps putting down a one-way smoke that I actually haven't seen before here on B Plateau, and it's actually going to net him a kill. He does get returned on by Caboose eventually, but, still cool to see that SK are trying to do new stuff to actually put pressure on teams early on, and this was a bit of a crazy around Coldzera. Getting boosted up into drop room and then getting flashed. In addition to his own, there was also a flash from the guy boosting him into drop room, and not quite sure if there actually was a smoke. Actually was a flash over from B-Long as well. But in any case, you actually see him getting into a very aggressive position that normally has been a massive issue for CTs to actually gain control of. So, you see SK trying to figure out new ways to actually go about how to potentially pressure the T sides on Cbble, which is really fun.
Well, even that one-way smoke there in upper B could have had a devastating effect.
Oh, absolutely.
It could have been way worse than it was. We actually saw him get the kill and then get traded out almost immediately.
Yeah.
But in any other scenario, that could have been a multi-frag situation. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and especially because how that round had played out earlier on is that Selfless had used utility elsewhere on the map, as you often do as T, to gain some sort of map control, get forward, and actually they were a bit split up, and eventually time runs down, you need to commit to something, and when you want to commit to B rush, the quicker you actually meet resistance, the tougher it actually is to get out on the bomb side. Oftentimes you see teams get stuck on plateau, they don't actually get the bomb plant down, and you start panicking, and you end up in a situation that's very favorable for the CTs, and just, one or two kills in that kind of a situation that Phelps finds himself in alleviates a ton of pressure from SK and makes that hold so much easier.
Absolutely. We saw them grab that first, the second pistol. SK were able to grab that T pistol and kind of at that point set the pace for themselves.
Yeah, no, definitely was.
Which isn't, they didn't start at their own pace,
No. It took them 8 rounds to get into the groove of things, and then it was 12 rounds in a row to put them up to 14-6, and the rest is history, as they say. But you see what happens, and you talked about it in the pregame as well. The fact that there is, a different tier between these two teams, a different caliber of teams, and this is kind of what you expect to happen.
Absolutely, we have 2 different caliber teams, right?
Yeah.
This loss puts Selfless at 1-8.
Yeah.
And then just continues the undefeated dominance, which is SK Gaming here in the Pro League. This season so far, I mean, can we expect a different game going forward tonight?
Well, that's the thing. They're going into Cache as the next map, and I would have labeled that as the best chance Selfless has to actually put a dent into SK, and I still think it is so, even though we saw SK kind of getting warmed up. I don't think they're going to have the same slow start on Cache as they did on Cbble. But in any case, no matter how you look at it, it's going to be an extremely tough task for Selfless, right? They're going up against SK, so no matter what map you go into, even this is one of the weaker maps that SK has, I don't think Selfless are going to be good enough, just plain and simple.
Just back to the old caliber, pound for pound fight.
It really is that way, and you can tell it even in situations where SK find themselves down a man. You saw that 2v3 towards the end of the game. It's Taco and Coldzera, kind of in wonky positions, with Cold being all by his lonesome towards drop, Taco towards B plateau. They still managed to find a way to make it work, and that's the issue when you constantly have players who are able to figure their way out of sticky situations that normally should favor the CTs.
All right. Well, we're going to go to a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to see SK and Selfless, and perhaps Selfless taking Cache away from the world champions in SK. We'll be right back after this.